Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between and beyond. My name's Jordy Coleman. You can call me Ginger Wolf, and welcome to another episode of finally covering Howie Mandel on our Let's Laugh series. Ooh, hello, ladies and gentlemen, everybody. Did not realize my live had audio on my phone. My apologies for that. Alright. So, first and foremost, I apologize for not doing this the last week. A lot of things going on. Not going to get into it. But here we are with the Howie Mandel, yet another Canadian comedian on our channel for what it is worth. Um, Strangely enough, I didn't even realize how many Canadian comics we have done on here. So, rather interesting on that. But, that being said, this one's probably the most well known simply because of his position on America's Got Talent. But of course, also him being on Deal or No Deal as well. But of course, that is not how we know the one and only Howie Mandel. How we know him is from the TV show Bobby's World. When I was quite young, there was a show on television called Bobby's World. Now, of course, by that point, Howie Mandel had already kind of established himself as a comedian. But much like a lot of Canadian comedians, I can actually name a few off the top of my head, ended up going into children's television. John Candy being another prime example of that. And of course, Bobby's World. And if you have young kids or you like that type of television show, I highly recommend Bobby's World. It is an absolutely adorable show. Highly, highly recommended. And I'm sure we'll get into it as we get into his Wikipedia page. And with that being said, let's get into his Wikipedia page. Howie Michelle, oh, Howie Michael Mandel, born November 29th, 1955, is a Canadian comedian, television personality, actor and producer. Mandel is known for voicing Gizmo in the 1984 film Gremlins and the 1990 sequel Gremlins 2: The New Badge, playing rowdy ER resident Dr. Wayne Fiscus on the NBC medical drama Saint Elsewhere, and creating and starring in the Fox children's cartoon Bobby's World. Now, hang on one second. I just want to point out with him being in Gremlins, there's actually another comedian in Gremlins where Howie voices Gizmo, of course, the cute one. One person, one comedian, voiced all the bad Gremlins. And that was Michael Winslow. And if you're kind of sitting there going, I don't really know who that is, to me, he is the pinnacle of you know him, but you don't recognize the name. Because if you've ever watched the Police Academy movies, and by Police Academy movies I do mean all six of them, yes, there were six of them, and possibly there's talks of a remake now, which I don't know why you would do a remake of essentially a parody, but okay, sure. But he was the sound effects guy in Police Academy. Also, if you're a fan of, again, parody films, he was also in Spaceballs. More specifically, he is on screen for probably about 20 seconds, maybe. But he is also does all the sound effects for that movie. Every laser blast, every lightsaber-esque type thing, everything was done by one guy using his mouth and voice box, and that was Michael Winslow. And I gotta say, from a fan of movies and a fan of comedy, my hat is off to you, Mr. Winslow. But we're not here to talk about him. Let's get back to Howie Mandel. He has also been a judge on NBC's America's Got Talent since 2010 and Citytv's Canada's Got Talent since 2022. He hosted the American NBC and later the CNBC game show Deal or No Deal, as well as shows Daytime and Canadian English counterparts. Early life and education. Mandel was born in Toronto and raised in the Boothus Manor, Toronto neighborhood. He is Jewish and accentors immigrated from Romania, and his ancestors immigrated. Jesus. Brain is not working good today. Ancestors immigrated from Romania and Poland. Mandel is, I, just because it's in his thing, I have to ask, what the hell? I've been looking at like a lot of old joke books, and of course, like a lot of those were written at a time where we weren't as politically correct and conscious as we are right now. And I have to say, what was the deal with so many jokes about Polish people? Like, why was that the target? And for a long time, this isn't like a little anomaly that was like it happened for a couple of years. It's actually a thing that happened for a long time. But the thing that I find the most curious about it is that it happened and then just disappeared. Unlike, Scottish jokes, Irish jokes, Russian jokes, jokes about like other specific groups of people. It just vanished. It's so weird how that is a thing that could potentially happen. And I'm not projecting about that on other marginalized groups at all. Nope. Not trying to hint at anything at all. Not at all. Nope. Anyway, Mandel is a distant cousin of Israeli violinist. I am not gonna. Perlman is his last name. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his first name. I had a hard enough time getting ancestors and immigrated. His father was a lighting manufacturer and real estate manager. Mandel attended William Lloyd Mackenzie Collegiate Institute, where he was expelled for impersonating a school official and hiring a construction company to build an addition to the school. Afterwards, Mandel worked as a carpet salesman. He was a stand-up comedian at Yuck Yucks in Toronto, and by September 1978, he had a week-long booking as a featured act, which was billed as a wild and crazy borderline psychotic. Interesting thing, because I've watched a ton of Howie. I love Howie Mandel. I think he is definitely a very underrated. His stand-up comedy is very underrated. He's a super famous person, so I can't say he's underrated. But his stand-up comedy, I think, is extremely underrated. Of course, we'll get into that in a little bit. But I have to also say, the part where they just kind of glance over he was expelled for impersonating a school official and hiring a construction company to build an addition to the school. That was a real thing. He legitimately called a construction company basically saying that he was part of the school and they wanted to build an addition. Like, the insanity and just how quickly it happened. Like, because a construction crew legitimately showed up at his school ready to start work. Like, you would think that they would have had to have paid a deposit or signed a contract or anything. But nope, they just were like, "Yeah, we got nothing to do on a Monday afternoon. Let's go build an extension onto the school." Like, it's so weird and random. Anyway, on a trip to Los Angeles, Mandel performed a set at the Comedy Store, which resulted in his being hired as a regular performer. A producer from the syndicated comedy game show Make Me Laugh saw him there and booked Mandel for several appearances during the show's run in 1979 and 1980. He was booked to open David Letterman at the show in the summer of 1979. CBC TV's head of variety programming saw his performance in October 1979 and immediately signed him for a TV special. In 1980, he won the lead role in the Canadian movie Gas, co-starring Susan Anspach and Donald Sutherland. Mandel was one of the first VJs to appear on Nickelodeon's music video series Pop Clips. Television and film career. This is going to be quite well. Oh, actually, it's not as long as I thought it would be. Alright, let's get back. Mandel came to national attention in the United States during a 6-year run. Actually, I'm just going to make this a little bigger, make it a little easier for everybody to see, make it not as blinding for everybody, and sure, let's do wide as well, just to make it as good as possible for everybody to see. Should have done that before we started the stream, but it is what it is. Mandel came to national attention in the United States during a 6-year run on St. Elsewhere, starring in 1982 and playing the role of Dr. Wayne Fiscus, opposite Ed Flanders and Norman Lloyd. He also appeared on a week's worth of episodes on the short-lived NBC game show Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour in March of 1987 while working as Dr. Fiscus, and continued to work as a comedian. Mandel also worked in films, including providing the voice of Gizmo in the 1984 hit Gremlins and its 1990 sequel Gremlins 2: The New Batch. In 1985, Mandel made a cameo in the Michael J. Fox directed short The Iceman Humeth, which was sequentially broadcast on Late Night with David Letterman in November 1985. In 1986, he starred in A Fine Mess alongside Ted Danson. He performed a stand-up comedy act in several cities. The Wettus Tour, which followed by his Wheatus music video in 1987. For the first 2 seasons of Muppet Babies, he voiced Bernice Honeydew, Animal, and Skeeter. I actually did know about Animal. Everything else I did not know about that, but I did know he voiced Animal at one point. I just wasn't sure when. But he starred along Amy Steele in 1987 comedy film Walk Like a Man. He was also Maurice in 1989 movie Little Monsters. Oh, Maurice, I remember that movie. Now that I hear it, yes, I remember that movie. That was not a great movie. As a matter of fact, it was really weird and kind of. And I'm saying that. If I'm saying it's a weird movie, That's something you can probably take to the bank. He starred in the short-lived sitcom Good Grief on Fox. He was also the creator and executive producer of the Emmy-nominated children's animated series Bobby World from 1990 to 1998, to which he supplied the voices of the title character and his father. Bobby's World ran for 7 seasons on Fox and was later syndicated. Again, if you got little ones or even if you just like animated television shows, highly recommend checking out Bobby's World. In 1992, saw the weekly airing of his self-titled comedy show Howie, with multiple guest stars such as Gilbert Godfrey and Little Richard and Lita Ford in the in-house band guitar as the in-house band guitarist. His character Bobby made a regular appearance on the show. In 1994, Mandel voiced the lead character Little Howie in the video game Turnland. He starred in the sketch comedy series Howie Mandel's Sunny Skies in the 1995 on Showtime. Mandel appeared in the 1995 Clint Black music video Summer's Comin'. He played the lead role of the professor in the short-lived television show The Amazing Live Sea Monkeys, and he guest starred on the 1996 episode of ABC's TV series Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman as DC Comics supervillain Mr. Mixius Splitlix. That does seem very Howie, especially I think at that point he had shaved his head. I'm not 100% sure. And of course, for those of you who aren't familiar with a lot of DC, Mr. Mixius Splitlix is a other dimensional being who is also bald. As a matter of fact, through the entirety of DC Comics, we meet two characters from his dimension, Splitlix and Batmite, who is actually a gigantic fan of Batman. So, which I think is, they're essentially, those characters are essentially embodiments of the readers and stuff like that. If you really break it down, where they're basically characters who can control everything, which is essentially what fans and writers are. Where Mixius Splitlick is more CEO type, I guess would be the best way to put it, where Batmite is more super fan, let's get the most amazing things to happen kind of thing. It's really interesting dynamics when you get a chance to check that kind of stuff out. In 1998, he hosted his syndicated talk show, The Howie Mandel Show, which was canceled after one season. From 1999 to 2000, he played Jason in the film Apocalypse 3. Tribulations, was the voice of Jack in the movie The Tangerine Bear in 2000, and in 2002 he played the Sandman in the movie Hansel and Gretel. In 2006 he appeared as himself as a guest host in the parody of Deal or No Deal in the show within a show of the TV series Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. In 2007, he guest starred as himself in an episode of NBC's Medium and made a dream cameo of himself in Deal or No Deal. In the episode, he booted the nightmare drama's protagonist off for cheating, since in the show he is a psychic medium and appeared to know the contents of the case. Mandel plays his alter ego, Phil Scrojak, in most of his comedy shows, which are a fan favorite. Bobby also made a cameo appearance in the 2007 episode of Deal or No Deal on a special 2-hour Christmas episode, first airing on December 25th, 2007. Mandel delivered one line with Bobby's voice as requested by the contestants. Mandel's signature stunt as a stand-up comedian besides his Bobby alter ego, which stretched a latex glove over his head, inflating it with his nose, and filling it up until it suddenly repelled itself off his head. The trick also lent itself to the title and cover photo of his comedy album, Fits Like a Glove. He eventually gave up on the routine under doctor's orders after being diagnosed with a performated sinus. However, in a cameo role as himself on My Name is Earl, he did the routine. He guest starred in 2 episodes of Monk. Mr. Monk joins a cult, and Mr. Monk's 100th case. Which, yeah, by the way, again, I've seen a ton of his interviews and stuff like that, so I one of those I gotta point it out. But him blowing up the latex glove actually comes. So he has. I know he has OCD, but he also has the thing where he thinks he's really scared about getting sick and stuff like that, which is an aspect of OCD, but not the only aspect of it. So it's. But anyway, and that was actually the reason him blowing the glove up started when he first set foot doing stand-up comedy, because he always carried latex gloves on him just in case he had to touch something he wasn't comfortable touching. And when he first did stand-up comedy, he prepared absolutely nothing. And it actually started a thing, we'll see it, but he would do a thing where he'd literally sit there for like a minute just being like, no, wait, no, wait, because he had no material, right? And that's a interesting way of doing something when you have no material, is just to kind of delay for time. Trust me, I've had to do it. But that's where the glove came from, was because he actually had a pair of latex gloves on him, and he just decided to bust that out and do it. So sometimes some of the most interesting and signature things come from right place, right time, and I happen to have this thing with me, so let's work with it. So, Mandel is known for his frequent appearances as comedian and for the hidden camera segments on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. He has appeared in many television commercials for Boston Pizza as their hired spokesperson. Interesting little thing for my Canadian friends, Boston Pizza is a Canadian chain. Why it's named after Boston, I have no idea, but it is in fact made in Canada. In April 2004, he appeared as number 82 on Comedy Central's Top 100 Greatest Stand-Up Comedians of All Time, which of course is where we have here. I do apologize, I did not realize switching from one to the other would be so freaking bright, but here we are. In October 2005, he was named to be the host of America's version of Deal or No Deal, which debuted December 19th, 2005 on NBC and became a popular program in early 2006. Mandel also hosted Deal or No Deal Canada, originating from Toronto. Deal or No Deal Canada debuted in January 2007 on Global, which made him one of the few game show hosts WikiLeaks, N. Robinson, The Chairs, John McRone, Pyramid's Donny Osmond, and the Spelling Bee's Joey Fatone, from NSYNC, and Minute to Win It, Darren McMullen being others to host both a domestic and international version of the same game show. Mandel joined Alex Trebek, Jim Perry, and Jeff Edwards on a list of game show hosts who emceed one game show simultaneously in Canada and the United States. Of course, I know who Alex Trebek is. I don't know who Jim Perry or Jeff Edwards are. Nope, I have no idea. 2007, Mandel made an appearance on an episode of Sesame Street's 38th season. The same year, he was parodied on the show as Howie Eats Well. The Muppet host of Sesame Street game show Meal or No Meal, Mandel hosted the DVD game version of Deal or No Deal, Fast or Crap Beat the Bomb, and Would You Rather for Imagination Games. Mandel had a cameo appearance as himself in the NBC show My Name is Earl. I actually really remember that. In the episode where Earl's roommate robbed an Indian casino, which Mandel was performing while stealing money, they also kidnapped Mandel. In the episode, Mandel performed his old routine of inflating a rubber glove over his head with his nostrils. Mandel is notable alumnus of Beth David Benes Israel Beth Am's Hebrew School. Oh, he's an alumnus, of course. Located in Toronto, as well as 3 other Toronto high schools. Mandel is currently performing a variety/comedy act at the MGM Grand Hotel Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Which I still hope he's performing that. I do want to go to Vegas at some point, and I want to see him, and I want to see Penn and Teller. There's a lot of things I would love to see out in Vegas. Starting in 2007, Mandel became the spokesperson for the internet retailer Buy.com. He is sometimes featured in a section called What's the Sharkin' with Mandel. On September 8th, 2008, Mandel began hosting a 5-day-a-week syndicated daytime version of Deal or No Deal with a top prize of $500,000. On January 9th, 2009, Mandel's reality show How We Do It premiered on NBC. On March 31st, 2011, Mandel premiered a flash mob show on Fox called Mobbed, originally a presentation pilot. The ratings after American Idol prompted Fox to pick up the show for 8 to 10 episodes. On October 18th, 2012, Mandel appeared on Big Bang Theory as himself in a season 6 episode, Re-Entry Minization. On October 30th, 2012, he hosted the NASCAR Spirit Cup Awards ceremony. On December 10th, 2012, his 6-night special game show Take It All premiered. He appeared in one episode of the series Forget About It as the voice of FBI agent Rick Chick Magnet in 2013. From 2013 to 2014, Mandel exclusively produced the TBS hidden camera show Deal With It. He also regularly made appearances and co-hosted the show along with the main host Theo Vaughn. Speaking of Howie Mandel working with like Theo Vaughn and stuff like that, he was also on an episode of This Isn't Happening, which was hosted by Ari Shafir, where they don't necessarily tell it's stand-up comedians not necessarily doing stand-up comedy. They're just like telling chunks of their like stories from their life. Oftentimes they are quite funny. and he has one about his daughter. Him and his, I'm not going to spoil the whole story, but him and his daughter literally ended up in sewage. It is the fucking weirdest goddamn story. Highly recommended if you want to check that out. It sounds really gross, and it kind of is, but you have to think like he's a hypochondriac, I think is the term I'm looking for. You have to understand he's a hypochondriac, and he had to deal with being in sewage with his daughter. So the way he describes it does make it sound way funnier than I could portray it, which is why I don't want to spoil really much of the story, but I do recommend it. Deal or No Deal. In 2003, while Mandel was deciding whether or not to quit show business, the executive producer at NBC asked him to host the show, but he declined many times. They then mailed him a tape of the overseas version, and he finally accepted. In 2007, he hosted a 5-episode run of the Canadian English version, Deal or No Deal Canada. The show then went to daytime with Mandel remaining as host, although Arsenio Hall was originally intended to host the show. In January 2009, well, that's kind of a shame. I do like Arsenio Hall. He's also very underrated as a comedian. In January of 2009, interview on Anytime with Bob Cushell, Cushell, Cushul, Mandela expressed mild, jovial frustration over how some of his contestants hold out during the game show, even though the grand prize is many times what they would make in a year. Jovial frustration over how some of his contestants hold out during the game show, even though the grand prize is many times what they would make per year. I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming that sentence is meaning he's frustrated, like when they're getting big offers, especially at the beginning and stuff like that. It's one of those, take the money and go. You're already being offered like a year's salary here. I'm assuming that's what that sentence is trying to execute there. On March 12, 2018, it was announced that Mandel would host the 2018 CNBC revival of the game show and also become an exclusive executive producer. And the show premiered December 3rd, 2018. Mandel is one of 3 game show hosts who host the same game show in 2 different countries, others being Donny Osmond for Pyramid in the US and the UK, Annie Robinson for The Weakest Link in the US and the UK. In 2004, Mandel was credited as an executive producer on the reality game show spin-off Deal or No Deal, titled Deal or No Deal Island. In the final of the first season, it was also revealed that he is the secretive banker who has made the offer to the contestant over the course of the game. Okay, that's kind of an interesting little side thing. So the banker isn't really real. It's literally Howie sitting there making offers. So the phone call and everything like that was all for show. Interesting. In January 2010, it was announced that Mandel would replace David Hasselhoff as one of the judges on ABC's America's Got Talent after Hasselhoff announced that he was leaving to work on a new television series. Out of all the judges on the show, Mandel currently has the longest tenure than any other judge or host, spanning 15 consecutive seasons, season 5 to present. In 2021, it was announced that Mandel would be a judge on the second season of Canada's Got Talent, which aired in 2022. Howie Mandel does stuff. Since February 2021, Mandel has hosted the Howie Mandel Does Stuff podcast with his daughter, Jacqueline Schultz, as co host, according to the Apple Podcast Preview. Together, these two make prank calls, discuss pop culture, interview interesting people, say weird things, chat with listeners, get deep. How very vague at the end there. Bullshit the Game Show. On April 27th, 2022, Netflix released the 10-episode debut season of Bullshit the Game Show with Mandel as the host of the program. It was Mandel's first game show since the cancellation of Deal or No Deal's revival on CNBC in 2019. In the game show, contestants have a chance to win up to $1 million by answering a series of trivia questions, but have to also be able to convince a group of prospective challengers that the answer they gave is right, even if it is not. The contest is shown. That actually sounds like a really interesting game show. The contestant is shown whether or not their answers is correct as soon as they choose it. After explaining their reasoning, the judge will vote on whether they think the contestant is bullshitting, lying, or telling the truth. At a certain time after they're done convincing the judges, Mandel would ask the contestant if their answer is correct or if they were bullshitting. If the contestant answered it was correct, or if it's incorrect, but they successfully convince at least one judge that they're telling the truth, they win and move on to the question. If they lie and none of the three judges buy it, they are removed from the game. The next contestant is the judge who most accurately guessed whether or not the contestant was truthful during each question. That is a very interesting idea for a TV show, although I will say, as fitting as the name Bullshit is for a game show like that, I kind of wish it didn't have that name, just because one of my personal favorite TV shows of all time is literally Penn and Teller's Bullshit, and it feels like it should have something to do with that when it really doesn't. But that's, my opinion kind of thing. Other businesses. Mandel is an avid tech futurist and has invented in many innovative setups. In 2021, he invented Metamedia's Magic Screen, which plans interactive experiences for movie theaters. In 2022, Mandel became an investor for frequent use of proto-hologram technologies. He uses it for both his own appearances and to promote the startups, such as when he became beamed into the JFK Airport Terminal 4 to surprise travelers. That is actually something that he has on his podcast as well. I think it was partially designed by his son, actually, if I remember correctly. Personal life. Mandel has been married to Terry Mandel, Nisoil, since 1980. Together they have 3 children. On September 4th, 2018, Mandel received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Comedy Central's listed him as number 82 on their list of 100 great stand-up comics. Of course, we already talked about that. Mandel received a star on Canada's Walk of Fame in Toronto. The inductee ceremony was held on September 12th, 2009. In October 2008, Mandel received his ADHD, revealed that he had ADHD on the morning talk show Live with Regis and Kelly, adding that he is currently working to raise adult ADHD awareness among the general public. On January 12th, 2009, Mandel reportedly sent to St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto suffering from chest pains, where he was reported as a minor heart attack. According to various news reports, he was experiencing a lingering heartbeat, or an irregular heartbeat. Jeez, apparently my eyes aren't frickin' working today, Jesus. But the reports were later revealed as inaccurate. He was later discharged. Mandel has written and published an in-depth autobiography which detailed his life with OCD, ADHD, and comedy called Here's the Deal, Don't Touch Me, which I think I could not think of a more accurate name for his autobiography. Let's germaphobe. That was the word I was looking for. Mandel is colorblind, which I did not know, and a germaphobe. He contracted COVID-19 at the 2022 Kids' Choice Awards, which caused him to miss parts of the 3rd, 8th, and 10th episode, the entire 7th episode, and the 17th season of America's Got Talent. The lockdown during the epidemic also led to physical and mental health struggles, including drug and substance abuse. Mandel lives in Hollywood Hills area of Los Angeles. I mean, that totally makes sense because he's a germaphobe who got COVID, and then he had to be like, as much of as COVID was a nightmare for all of us, for a germaphobe, that would even fucking worse. And then the fact that he caught it, and then it caused him to miss huge chunks of stuff that he was doing. Yeah, I could see that causing a lot of mental struggles right there. Alright, obsessive compulsive disorder. Mandel has spoken publicly about his obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, which has taken many forms, including misophonia. Hang on. Misophonia is known as verminophobia, germophobia. Okay, yeah. So it's basically just germophobia. Not just, but essentially the same thing. Mandel's anxiety affects him to the point where he does not shake hands with anyone, including enthusiastic contestants on Deal or No Deal, unless he is wearing latex gloves. Instead of shaking contestants' hands when they offer, Mandel often opts to exchange fist bumps. Put his hands on the contestants' shoulders or give an occasional hug. He once kissed a female contestant on the show for good luck. Despite his disorder, he now takes medication to control his condition and even pokes fun at himself for it. And that I am aware of. On March 24th, 2006, he revealed on the Howard Stern show that he shaved his head. His shaved head is not related to natural hair loss but OCD. He stated that the lack of hair makes him feel cleaner. On the backyard of Howie Mandel's house is a second, smaller house in which he had built especially to live in solitude when a family member is sick. During his appearance on Mad TV, Mandel and cast member Bobby Lee made fun of Mandel's condition. Mandel often also confirmed his germophobia in Season 4, Episode 1 of the Comedy Central series This Is Not Happening. I just mentioned that a few moments ago. The show aired February 3rd, 2018. You can actually look that up on YouTube as well. The majority of the episodes or clips of the episodes are also on YouTube. Mandel has reported a pivotal childhood experience during a family vacation in Florida that may have caused the manifestation of misophonia. During the trip, a sandfly laid its eggs on him, leading to development of larvae that he could see moving around just beneath the surface of his The removal process was accomplished by considerable discomfort, with a dermatologist using liquid nitrogen to eliminate some of the larvae, and the rest being scrubbed out by his mother at home. The ordeal of discovering organisms growing beneath his skin just left a profound impact on Mandel, who was only 7 or 8 years old at the time. Mandel says that recalling the event often invokes sensations of organisms attempting to crawl under his skin. Yeah, no fucking kidding, dude. Like, That's wild. That is absolutely insane. Yeah. Sorry, just the whole mental image of that and everything is just bah. While guest hosting on Live with Regis and Kelly in 2005, Mandel had an altercation in which his hands were seized by guest Robert Schneider, who con- con- condescendingly teased Mandel, stating that he needs to get over his phobia. Host Kelly Ripa admonished Schneider on air while also obtaining hand sanitizer for Mandel from an audience member. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories that Rob Schneider is kind of a dickhead. So, which is why he was around for a solid period of time, and then just disappeared. On September 27th, Mandel interviewed former NFL linebacker Marshall Furlock on the NFL Network. Furlock asked him to shake hands, but Mandel refused, noting that he would rather have the fist tap, and as he does on Deal or No with the Deal or No Deal contestants. Seconds later, Fuljack subjected him to a sneak attack and shook his right hand. Mandel screamed and walked away from Fulk. He then washed his hands several times. On a guest appearance of Free Radio, Mandel explained that not only is he afraid of public bathrooms, but he is unable to use any bathroom other than his own. Once we get through his this thing, there is something I wanted to say about people who have this issue, and this is something that comes from me working for years in a kitchen. During the 9th episode of Season 5 of America's Got Talent in Chicago, contestant Zach Catharty attempted to act involving sneezing. Mandel pressed his X button at the beginning of the act and ran into the aisle until the act was over. Carthy was unable to perform the act. Mandel kept yelling at the other judges, Piers Morgan and Sharon Osbourne, to press the X button and for the audience to turn in his direction. Morgan eventually pressed the X button, but Osbourne refused, so Mandel promptly ran over and pressed her button, ending the act. In the backstage interview, he expressed to the television audience that he receives therapy to help him cope. In another America's Got Talent Season 5 incident, Dan Spray, a contestant on the YouTube quarterfinals depicted in a 21 and 22 dropped some dental floss that he had run through his neck as part of a magic trick. He drops the floss in Mandel's vicinity, prompting him to get up and run to the other side of the judges' table. Just before Spray's next performance in the semifinals, Mandel admitted that it was the most horrified he'd been on the show, and that his therapist loves Danny Spray because he had been two extra sessions that week. I like how we can make fun of that, but still at the same time, like, there's a lot of people kind of fucking with him because of a disorder he has. During the premiere of Season 6, juggler Frank Oliver grabbed Mandel's hand to balance himself during a unicycle act. Despite receiving a buzzer from Mandel, Oliver moved to the next round. Mandel refused to give Oliver any feedback during the judges' voting process. During AGT's 10th series premiere, contestant Chris Jones directly utilized Mandel's fear of germs as a subject of his hypnosum act under the post-hypnotic suggestion that Jones and the other judges were wearing latex gloves. Mandel shook the bare hands of all involved, which elated shouts of amazement. After viewing the video of the act, Mandel said that he was upset and somewhat betrayed by the act, but the therapist sequentially said that it was a good thing. Jones progressed the judge's cut when he was eliminated from the competition. Progressed to the judge's cuts. Okay. Mandel commented in 2011 that he has struggled with the condition since childhood, but did not seek help until he was an adult. I don't remember a time where I didn't feel there was an issue, but I wasn't diagnosed until adulthood. I've always felt a little bit different. I've always knew I wasn't as comfortable with life as everybody else seems to be, but I didn't know what I could do about it. When I was a kid, I didn't know anybody who went to a psychiatrist. There was always a stigma attached to mental health issues. I think there still is, but now I'm taking care of myself. Philanthropy. Mandel has started a charitable fund called Break Out the Masks, which helps provide personal equipment to health workers fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. He also involved Bell Let's Talk Day in fighting to help people struggle with mental health issues. And then a series of films he was in: Gas, Funny Man, Gremlins, Where Did I Come From?, A Fine Mess, Walk Like a Man, Little Monsters, Gremlins 2, Magic Kid 2, Turbulation, The Tangerine Bear, Spin Cycle, Hansel and Gretel, Pinocchio 3000. What? Okay. Didn't even know that was a thing, but okay. Room Service, Committed, Noah, When Jews Were Funny, which this is actually something there has been a lot, and I mean a lot, of noticeable funny Jewish people in the realm of stand-up comedy, to the point where it is like when a Jewish person gets into stand-up comedy at this point, it's almost self-parody, because it's a thing that happens so often. Gone South, How Canada Invented Hollywood, Being Canadian, Where Have You Gone, Gilbert, Killing Hasselhoff, On My Way Out, The Secret Life of Nana and Poppy, I Am Richard Pryor, Christmas Magic, Howie Mandel, But Enough About Me, John Panette, I Go Now, and Chop and Steal. I love John Panette, by the way. I did not know this was a thing. I need to check it out now. I just realized too, I was, as far as his OCD and everything and germaphobe stuff. So, I worked in kitchens. I've worked in kitchens for a long, long time. Because you're always handling food in a kitchen, most of the time when you're in a kitchen, you don't even do the fist bump thing. Because, of course, cross-contamination, so on and so forth. So what we do in kitchens a lot of times is we touch elbows. Literally the same concept of a fist bump, except a little lower down your arm, so you don't have to wash your hands whenever you're, go to shake somebody's hand, give them a fist bump, whatever. So if you have that issue, that could be something that you could definitely adopt. I know it's not as standardized as, interacting with somebody's hand with your hand, but just as something to kind of put out there. Television show, we covered the majority of this. Holy shit, maybe we didn't. But I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to kind of go over it a little quickly right now. The first Howie Mandel special, which I do think is what we are looking at today. Howie from Maui, Howie Mandel on Ice, and Howie Mandel Live. I'm pretty sure I've seen this special because there was one I saw about this time. I do wish Wikipedia was a little more giving to us to let us know who the company that produced it was, so that we had a little bit of an idea of where to look for it. In video games, he was in Toonland, starring Howie Mandel. Great World Adventure, Great Reading Adventure, Great Math Adventure, Deal or No Deal, and Lego Dimensions as Gizmo. And then, of course, we have all of these references. He had a long Wikipedia page, so I'm not surprised. That seems short for references for how long his Wikipedia page is. But, makes sense, I guess. Alright, now, before we get into this, I do have to say two things. Number one, it is an HBO comedy special. Even though we have done some swearing and stuff like that, I just want to be clear about, because it is on HBO, that is definitely a real possibility, although it is Howie Mandel, so, I will also say this. This is back when Howie Mandel had hair. So if he looks very different, that would be why. That being said, let's get into it.
An on-location Howie Mandel, next.
On the next Super Saturday. A foreign terrorist is striking LA, and the forces of law are powerless.
Oh, we're stretched to the limit now.
Only one man has enough knowledge, enough courage, enough anger to settle the score.
I want Malak al-Raqi.
Rutger Hauer stars in Wanted, Dead or Alive. Then, HBO Comedy Hour imports laughter, uncensored and live from London. Coming up on the next Super Saturday, April 30th on HBO.
If the music matters. Don't make any plans, May 14th.
The best in television. Nobody brings it home like HBO.
I said to myself, where am I going to do my North American Watusi tour? And then I decided Chicago. And then I said to myself, where's Chicago? Look, here's Chicago, but how do you get in? There's the entrance. Let's go. Chicago. Come on, this is so exciting. Big show tonight. They're throwing a parade for me.
Howie!
How you doing? Thanks for being at my parade. This is so exciting. Come here. This building is a water tower, and this is famous for being the only building in Chicago in the downtown area that didn't burn down during the Chicago fire. Why don't we find out why? So be neat. Watch this. Come on, burn, baby, burn. Well, that explains it. An asbestos building. You guys trying to buy tickets? You guys buy tickets? How much are they charging for tickets?
15 bucks.
14 bucks. I'm scalping my own tickets. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, all I have left is balcony. This is Isaac Jacobs. Isaac Jacobs, right?
Yeah.
He's been with me for over 25 years, so he's the choreographer with our show. Barney's been with me, well, he hasn't been with me a long time. Barney, you were with Fred for many years, and now you're with Howie. Yeah. And he's in charge of most of the special effects you'll see in tonight's performance. How's it going? Everything runs smooth?
Going perfect.
Perfect.
Hey, man, you know, we're here. If you need us...
They're in charge of the animals they'll be using
That's
on the
right,
show.
that's right.
They train...
Sheep trainers.
Sheep trainers. Hi. Well, I'm here. See the excitement? Look at the excitement in their eyes. Can we see the excitement in your eyes? All right. Look at that.
Number one in Chicago. Go.
Listen to this, all right? Before I start, shit, I did. Okay, no, come on, wait, all right, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. All right, all right, no, listen. No, okay, listen, all right, before I start, okay, well, I'm gonna tell you some stuff. And when I tell you this, you're gonna say to yourself, Howie, can't be. All right, listen to this, all right? Listen to this. Isn't that neat? Before I came here tonight, I went to a restaurant, right? And I ate dinner there, because the guy at the front door said, no volleyball. What? What are you laughing at? That weird? Look where my hips are, isn't that weird? So weird. I got deodorant on my hips. Anyways, the restaurant was one of those revolving restaurants, but it was revolving at like 80 miles an hour. And there were no tables or chairs. I was just stuck to the wall. The food was going by, and I spilled some water on me, and it dried right away. And it was fun. Listen to this. It was a lot of fun, but leaving was a bitch. It was like... Okay, listen to this. And then I went to another restaurant, right? And I know I was at another restaurant because I asked the waiter, I said, where am I? And he said, you're at another restaurant. And I said, shit, I was supposed to meet me here for dinner. And then, well, here's what happened. It was one of those theme restaurants. It's called the Ouija Room, and the whole restaurant's like a giant Ouija board. And you just sit at your table and you think about shit, and your table slides all over. Listen what happened. I was at the restaurant, and when I was okay, and then when the waiter came, I said, ooh, look, the waiter came. But then I thought it makes a nice hollandaise sauce. And here's what I did. Oh, okay, you gotta try this. That's a neat position. All right, you gotta try this. This is what I did. I ordered a chicken and an egg, right? Because I just wanted to see what would come first. Everybody, come here for a minute. That'd be me. What's your name? Kelly. Kelly! And what do you do for a living? I'm a PA system. What do you do, Kelly? You work for her dad. Oh, that's good. So you don't really love her. He's fucking you for a job. What do you do for her dad? I fuck his daughter. Son, I got a job for you. See Lisa in the other room? What do you do? He's a cabinet maker. Really? And what is your job? Sweeping up. You sweep up for a cabinet maker, so he saws and then he'll go sweep this up. Now go home and fuck my daughter. Are you married? You're not married? How long you been going out? Person! What's your name? I'll just call you Sybil. What's your name? Mike. And what do you do, Mike? I don't understand. What do you do? You're all wearing ties, except Mike. It's like you got your own language. I don't even understand what the fuck you're talking about. It's like being in Europe. It's like my show just went to Europe. I don't understand what you three are talking about. What do you do? You notice that when you're talking to somebody that doesn't speak the language, what do? We talk louder and slower, right? Where's the bus? Where is the bus? Do that the other way around. Somebody comes up to you and he goes, and you go, I'm sorry, I don't understand. So he goes, you go, oh, it's right over there. What's your name? Dave. What do you do, Dave? Purchasing. Some people call that shopping. You get up in the morning, you grab a little cart, some of this. I'm purchasing. I'm Dave. This is my job. What do you purchase, Dave?
Anything they want.
Anything they want. Dave, go get me some popcorn. Go to work. Is there popcorn out there? Go get me popcorn. Is there snacks? Drinks? Go get me something to drink. Go get me a drink. Go get me a drink. Get me anything. Get the fuck out of here. Give me a drink. Stand up. You came in and you were really happy because you said, I got a good seat. I'm right up front, right? Did you think that? You thought that, didn't you? But these aren't attached. Purchase your way back. You're a nut, Dave. What's your name?
Bob.
Bob, but you spell yours backwards, right? For sure. And what do you do, Bob? I work in a laboratory. You work in a laboratory. And what are you, a rat? Are they experimenting on you, Dave? Jamming cigarette butts up your ass? They stopped doing that. No, what do you do in the laboratory?
Food laboratory.
It's a food laboratory. So you're experimenting with sandwiches and stuff? Sorry, I had a call coming. What? Look, well, that's good. Go get it, idiot. Come on, go get it. Get it. Go get it. Oh, he'll be right back. Is he your husband? No? Is he... Here. Give me it. You were gonna spend the whole thing standing. You're nuts. So that's all. No, let me place it. Let me place it. Oh yeah. I'll give you a good seat. I'll move it right back. I got a feeling you're gonna get tired by the end of my show, Dave. Here. You just sit up here. This is me. You're great. This is great. This is so... You know what? I'll ask you... Look at this. Here's something. Dave, I'll ask you this. Dave, have you ever seen one of these? You ever seen one of these? Well, then look, stupid. So stupid. You just look and see. Now, tomorrow when somebody says, hey, Dave, you ever seen one of these? You can go, yeah, Howie showed me one. Hey, Dave. Hey, Dave. Hey, Dave. Hey. Do a magic trick now. How you feeling? You feeling good? Abracadabra, I'm going to give you a headache. You like 3D? You like 3D, the whole 3D deal? Like okay, I know you would, because it's like a special effect. Watch this. Doesn't it look like it's coming right at you? This movie's over an hour long. Is this your date? No. I've just been feeling her up. How long have you been going out? You met him in the parking lot. Are you serious? Are you one of those women? Is this costing you? You've been purchasing? I know your type. One of them came up to me and they said to me, hey, honey, I'll do it with you for $25. And I said, I am married, right? So she says, so what? I said, so what? My wife will do it for 10. What do you mean you met in the parking lot? Where'd you meet? Where'd you meet? Really, in the parking lot? You don't know each other? Oh, in the parking lot at work. Oh, so then it's a relationship. Have you ever seen her naked? Would you like to see her naked? Take off your clothes. Would you like to see her naked? Come on, take off your shirt and let us light your nipples on fire. Just the thought of it's gonna give me a boner. I love that word, boner. I love getting a boner and then running really fast into a brick wall. My mom used to always make me do that. These are good seats, huh, Dave? Why don't you move up a little closer? Do you want to go sit down? Well, big fucking deal. You can sit down. Go sit down. Yeah, I need the chair there. Go ahead. That's great. Is that like one woman? Do you live with anyone, man? You are so fucking loud. I have a microphone and you're louder. What is your name? What's your name? Joanne. And what do you do, Joanne? I'm a student in Toronto. Yeah, 2 people love that. I'm from Canada. I moved down here. It's weird being from Canada and moving down here. It's really weird. It's different. You have different things, your IDs and everything. When I first moved down here, I went to the bank, right? Because that's what you do. And what? What are you laughing at? And then I went up to the teller because that's what you do. And the teller said to me, I need some identification. That's how she said it. I need some identification, right? So I gave her my Canadian driver's license, and she says, no, I need something with a picture on it. So I took it back and I drew a little picture on it, right? Wait. So she says, I'm sorry, sir, it's not good enough. I said, what, I gotta be a fucking artist to get an account here? Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Oh. Oh. All right, there he goes. Okay, he's gone. Oh, okay. Did she go? I can't see. I can't see. Did she go? She's gone? Okay, it's a he. It's a he. All right, okay, shh. Okay, everybody. Hide. I think that'll be me. What's your name? What's your name? Dolly. Hello, Dolly. Oh, hello, Dolly. You know, it's so nice to have you back where you belong. What? You have a complaint for me? Oh, good. This is a good time.
We went to Ed the Bevick's this evening, and the waitress that served you last night said you didn't tip her too well.
Oh, my God.
What is that? I did tip her. I did tip her. They gave me the food on the house, and I gave her 15%. What? Oh, thanks a lot. And what is his job?
I'm his bodyguard.
He brought me a beer, and oh, very nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Oh, how you doing? This was a good time to just buy me a drink. Did you time this out? You just like looked at it, you said, let's fuck them up now. That's really great. What's your guys' names?
Tiny.
Tiny? Obviously not your body, but your dick, right?
Right, exactly.
Your girlfriend named you Tiny. Is she here? Be cool. Yeah, be cool. All right, we won't talk about your little dick. Tiny, look in the camera so America knows this man's got no dick. What do you do? What do you do, Tiny? What is your job?
I'm a computer operator.
You're a computer operator. What does that mean? If computers want to make long-distance calls, they go through you? What company do you work for?
IB Diffusion.
IB Diffusion. IB Howie. IB Tiny. This is great. This is really thoughtful of you, but I don't drink. I mean, I don't drink beer. Do you drink? Go ahead, Tiny. Guzzle the whole thing. Guzzle it, guzzle it. What do you want? Look at this. All right, Christmas is just around the corner. Well, it's not around the corner. It's really far down the hall, and then the second door on your left. I'm going to do this for you now. Well, I'm not going to do this for you now. I'm going to do this now, and then... no, wait. I'm sorry. I'm mixed up. I'm going to do this now, and then this, and then this. Wait, I got it out of order. I'm sorry, I got it out of order. Excuse me. You know, it's my special. I'm a little bit in there. I'm going to do this, and then this, and then that. I can't remember. Anyways, I'll do a lot of that stuff later.
Hello, my name is Ernest. Santa's helpers, and tonight I have a Christmas carol for you. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Shh, come on. Shh. Okay. Okay. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me one of those little blue fuzzy things. Well, what did you get? On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me two of those green things with a piece of wood in it. And I had that little blue fuzzy thing. On the second day of the third day of Christmas, so I got mixed up. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me three of those black mushy things. And I had two of those green things with a piece of red in it. And I had that little blue fuzzy thing. Well, I wasn't going to throw it away. And on the fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me nothing because she died. That's not funny. She died. Oh, I know how you feel. I was all by myself. I had nothing left. I went home to my home and it was empty. And then I went up to the bedroom and she was no longer there. And I felt so empty. I felt so empty inside. I had nothing. And then I looked over yonder onto the dresser. Yonder was my stuffed dog, and he was in front of the dresser. So I looked over yonder onto the dresser. And on the dresser, I saw all I had left in my whole life. All I had left was on the dresser. There were three black mushy things. And two green things with a piece of wood in them. That's all I had left. I don't know where I put them.
Great, I should tell you that. This is a serious thing. This is not a joke. To get away from it for just a minute and get away from joking, tell you a little bit about me. I just became a father. Well, you don't have to applaud. You don't have to applaud. It's no big deal. I just fucked my wife. But it was neat. Listen to this. It was neat. I went into the delivery room, and so did my wife, because I wanted her support, right? And I'll never forget it. I was in the delivery room, and she was on the table, and I looked at her, and I said, this is life. This is creation. This is what it's all about. I know it sounds corny, and I'll never forget this. She looked back at me, and she looked at me right in the eyes, and she said, "Ah!" She always says that. And now I have a daughter. And that's neat. You know what's weird, though? Think about this. I mean, look at me for just a second and think. No, wait. Look at me and think, I'm somebody's dad. Now, weird. In a few years, guys are gonna come to pick her up and take her out and date her, and they're gonna have to meet me. But I'm gonna worry, I'm gonna worry because you worry. That's why I'm gonna worry. that, you know, she'll be home. I don't think I'll be able to go to sleep before she gets home. And so my wife and I have decided to do something to ensure she always comes home on time. We decided not to potty train her. That was always my rule. If a girl shit in the car, I took her home. Unless she had really big tits. What? You know what else? Well, nice talking to you. I live in California now. I'm living in California. It's weird. I've decided I want to be like everybody else. So I've decided to get into shape, and the shape that I've chosen is a triangle. So I was getting up every morning, and I was jogging for like a half an hour, and then I said to myself, fuck, if I take the car, I could save so much time. And then I wanted to get into the aerobics and stuff, and I bought the Jane Fonda tape, and I was doing the aerobics. That's so fucking hard, right? I bought On Golden Pond. Somebody told me Barbarella is so much easier. What? What are you laughing at? What if this was biting my dick off? No, it's not real. It's just rubber. It's a rubber alligator. It's not real. It's rubber. It's rubber. For that new preppy look. I saw you asking your wife, sir. You don't get it, do you? What's your name?
Warner.
Warner?
Yes.
One of the brothers?
You like that?
What is it? You're Warner? What do you do, Warner?
I'm a business broker.
You're a business broker?
Right.
And what does that mean? You sell and buy and sell businesses?
Yes.
And you don't get this? You don't understand? Don't you see the kids today, those wacky kids with the rock and roll music, wearing alligators on their sweaters?
I don't know where that goes.
You don't know where this goes? I had it on my dick a minute ago. Do you have any kids?
Sure.
Oh, those are all the kids. You brought the kids. So you're sitting there, and who else in the family is there? Everybody's a kid?
They're all here with me.
See, your daughters are here, and I'm talking about dicks. Do you think they know what I mean? Do they, Warner? Did you ever sit down with them and say, listen, honey, this is a dick? You get it?
I got it.
What's your name? Dave. And what do you do, Dave? You're a G-man. You pick up garbage. Oh, but you say G-man, but you pick up garbage, so you're a garbage man who wears like a trench coat. And a fedora. You're a garbage man. So do you only work, I wanted to ask you, I always wonder, do you guys just work like Wednesday? What do you do the rest of the week, Dave? What, you plan Wednesday? What do you do the rest of the week? I'm asking you seriously. What is your job the rest of the week? I know there's like
5 days a week.
5 days a week? For a village. For a village? You're the village garbage man. Some people are the village idiot, but you're Dave, the village garbage man. And in those little villages, oh, just that one little village. You're Dave from just that one little village. It's such a sweet story. Now let me ask you, there's like 3 men on a truck. And like, do you pull in the morning, do you draw straws to say, I'll drive? No. How do you know who's gonna drive and who's just gonna ride on the back and pretend they're firemen? Pardon me?
The biggest guy's the driver.
The biggest guy's the driver, right, because you want the small little guys to pick up all the heavy garbage. Pardon me?
You want to go in there one day and argue with him?
No! What are you getting pissed at? I'm just talking to you. So apparently you're not the biggest guy, are you? Just hang on. Hi, I'm Dave. Welcome to the village. What's your name? Mark, and what do you do, Mark? A manager. And do you manage anything in particular, Mark? Pardon me? Trucks. And no people, you just manage. There's like 2 vans and you're the manager. What's your job? What kind of trucks?
Terminal manager.
Pardon me?
Terminal manager.
Terminal manager. Okay, we got trucks and the airport. Explain, what the fuck do you do? You work for a trucking company. Oh, that clears it up. And what is your job? What would have to be happening at the trucking company for them to go, fuck, get Mark? Did you work today, Mark? No. Did you work yesterday?
Yes.
And what happened? Nothing. Nothing, and then you said slow. And I guess if something happens, that's busy. So, do you like it when nothing happens?
That's the best time.
That's the best time, when nothing happens. And what do you do when nothing's happening? And do you use your left or your right? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? I've asked you 3 fucking times. What's your name? David, and what do you do, David? An assistant manager. It's so weird. This is like a dick with a camera on it. Don't you wish you had a camera on your dick so you can see what you're getting into? Oh. Let me focus. Whoa. It's so weird. Look at this, it goes right overhead. This is like Busby Berkeley. Great dancing. Are there any doctors here? Are there any doctors here? Are you a doctor? What's your name? Andy? Dr. Andy. And what kind of medicine do you practice? Internal medicine. So if someone gets sick outside, you can't do anything. Sorry, it's raining. My arm hurts. You know anything about emergency medicine? A little. Well, I guess it's important to know a little. And, okay, what do you do? I'll give you a quiz. Okay, Dr. Andy? All right. What do you do when somebody comes into the emergency room with a gunshot wound to the chest? What do you do, Andy? Call a surgeon. Even I know what to do. Even I know what to do. You got to get D5 lactated ringers, colloids, O-negative blood, an intubation tray with a 22-centimeter endotracheal tube, an open thoracotomy tray, and 2 number 16 central intravenous catheters and a mass suit. Stat, right? Don't applaud, don't applaud. Don't applaud, I'm wrong. You're supposed to call a surgeon. I'm just thinking about this. I go into stores every day, and I buy these things. Just thinking about this. I go up to the cash register and I say, I'll take these. And the lady always says, well, what do you need these for? And I say, well, it's for work. So if you ever see me on the street with this shit, you go, Howie's going to work. When I was living at home, I'd leave in the morning, my mom'd say, Howie, where are you going? I'd say, I'm going to work. She'd go, you forgot these. And now I travel a lot, and I gotta have this stuff in my bag, and it goes through the X-ray machine. So you always see my bag going through on the X-ray, like. And they'll pull this stuff out, they'll pull it out, and they'll go, okay, what's this for? And I say, well, it's for work. And then they take them away. They confiscate it. Customs always takes this shit away from me. I have stuff in every city. There's like a plastic crab, a dinosaur. They take it away from me like I'm gonna hijack the plane with it. Okay, take me to Lebanon. Better listen to him, Hank, he's got a crab. I was on my way here tonight, the car broke down. I didn't think I was gonna make it, and I had to take a cab here, and I said to the cab driver, I said, get me to the Bismarck really fast. So around every corner we went, ah, ah. By the time I got here, my throat was so sore. Before I came out, I don't know if you're still here, one of you guys, before I came out, I was in the lobby and I was in the men's room, and one of you guys came in the next stall, right? I mean, you walked in. And I had a chocolate bar in my bag, and I took it out and I rubbed it all over my hand, and I stuck my hand underneath to your stall, and I went, hey man, you got any toilet paper? You still here? I'm always doing shit like that. Like 2 weeks ago, I went to a porno movie and I took a squirt gun filled with Jergens lotion. It's an inside joke. I'm gonna try something now. This is something I've never tried before, but because this is a special. I should also say that we're recording an album tonight here. Why are you doing that? So when you buy it, you can say, hear that? That was me. I just finished side one, so I'm going to have to ask everyone to turn over. I really appreciate it. I'm going to do something that, let me just say something. I'm going to do something that's dangerous. I'm going to do a stunt. No, I'm going to do it, and the cameras are here. You guys all ready? Everything's set. Okay. I will be. You know why I love you? Because you worry about me. All right. Shh. Okay, shh. Shh. All right. Okay. I'm gonna stand on one leg and flap my arms really, really hard. All right. I'm gonna try something for you people. I'm gonna try something tonight. I'm gonna try the exact same stunt without a net. I'm going to be in the lobby after the show, and I'm going to be selling these, and these are for the ladies. It's good to be security conscious nowadays. It really is good to be security conscious. And ladies, this is Howie's new rape whistle. And this is better than the old type of rape whistle because it rather than getting help, it deters the guy who's bothering you. See, you just hold this in the palm of your hand. I feel like Kate Hell. You just hold this in the palm of your hand, and say you're going out to your car and it's dark, and a guy wants to bother you. All you got to do is squeeze it. And he goes away. It's easy. But I mean, you don't just do it. I mean, there's instructions to it. It's not that easy. You don't just do it. I mean, you got to make the face, too. You know the words, sing along. This is great. I have this in my hotel. I had it in the elevator. The doors closed at the lobby, and people press 26 and 28. I was, two, we'll get off. What's your name? Me. That's a good name, Me. And your brother is him, and your parents are them. And the us family. Me. Me, come here. Who, him? No, you. You, me. Them, us. What do you do, me? You know, I'm me too. What do you do?
I cut hair.
You cut hair. Great. And on people? Or you just sit at home with some strands and go, I'm working. Come up here. Come here. Come here, me. Whoa. Okay, what I want you to do, do you have your own salon? Yeah. You don't have your own salon? What do you think? You cut hair, huh? You're using, is there mousse in there right now?
Hairspray.
Hairspray. What's the difference? What works better, mousse or hairspray? No, I was on a hairdresser's convention. I wasn't on the hairdresser's convention. This is a true story. I was on a plane, I was flying somewhere, and there was a bunch of hairdressers, and the landing gear wouldn't go down. And you know what? Instead of putting foam on the runway, they put mousse. And you know what? We landed, and we had so much body, and we felt good. That's great. There's a lot of hairspray. Ooh, this is hard. Wow, this is really hard. Feel this. Look. Donald Dick. Okay, what I want you to do is this is a serious thing, okay? I want you to demonstrate this thing with me. What I'm gonna do is
I have to make the face?
You make the face, I'll make the noise, all right? Oh, it'll be neat. Have you done this before?
No.
You've never done this before?
Okay.
Bullshit, you've never farted. Really, you've never farted? Stand back, she's gonna explode! Wow, this is so great. On my special, the only woman who's never farted. Get Guinness, get Guinness. Let's stick a pin in her. Okay, you gonna make the face? What, no. You wanna make the noise?
Yeah, I'll make
Okay, you make the noise and I'll make the face. Go ahead. Oh, classy woman. Yeah, that's my hairdresser. What? No, come on, you make the face. It'll be neat, all right? You do it. Go ahead, do it. Do it. Do it! Okay, ready? On the count of 3.
do it again for me.
What do you mean? You gotta rehearse farting? What are you, a method farter? No rehearsal. Oh, I guess this is television, right?
Well, I don't practice all the time.
You don't practice all the time. All right. Well, I'm sure you look like a natural. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you do it. Okay, now you do it. Ready? 1, but you really exaggerate and stuff. No, do it. Do it. Just shut up and have a good time. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let me do it with this, okay? That's really neat. You can sit down. You're wearing satin pants, aren't you? Those satin pants. Are you wearing underwear? You got them from that guy. You could sit down now. You cut hair. What is wrong with this? How does it? That happened. That's great. Thank you for farting for me.
Could you tell me something she said, Bobby. So I said, what? Well, what would you say? And she said, how come every time I put you on the potty, you cry? And I told her, Mommy, it's my party, I'll grab my washer.
Thank you very much. Good night. That's me. I like toys and stuff. Do you like guys like toys? You know what I used to? Here's what I used to do. I used to play Twister. I used to play Twister alone. And I always won. And I liked Mr. Potato Head. All my friends had Mr. Potato Head, and we couldn't afford potatoes, so my parents used to let me just stick shit on my grandmother's face. And now I'm inventing games. I'm inventing games. Oh, listen to this. I'm inventing games. I just invented, it's like a cube. It's a cube of hair. A cube of hair, and you twist it around. Oh, here's what you do, okay? No, when I think about it, I get excited. I get a warm feeling inside, and I start to do this. Okay? There's a cube of hair, and you twist it around, and you try to get all the hair on each side curling the same way. And I call it Pubic's Cube. I think this is a nice look. How come whenever I put rubber on my head, I feel like such a dick? I think you should do this in your car on the way home, just at the red light. Thank you very much. Got some questions. All right. Okay, where did you find cottage cheese in your shoes? Or you see a hamster named Philip and he's on the news? Or a stinky turtle bites you in the ear? Or your left knee is the only way you can possibly hear? What? What? Can't hear, you got pants on. Get it? You don't get it. All right, well, I do know what to see. You know what to see. Okay, solos. Everybody grab your chicks and get into the groove. do know what to see. I do know what to see. Okay, here's one. No.
Okay. There's not much left in that little song there, so I figured this was a good time to kind of cut her out. Yeah, I was actually expecting it to be more funny. I mean, I remember Howie being really, really funny, so, but I was expecting a little more comedy on that. So, that all being said, can we agree that that outfit was very, like, early 1990s? That whole outfit was very 1990s. And it is funny to see Howie, like, back in the day compared to how he is now, because he, like, as we were talking, of course, like, he's a germaphobe and everything like that, and this, he was so willing to, like, interact with other people and shake their hands and stuff like that. It was almost surreal to kind of see it all in so many ways. And he was so, like, the best way I could, if I was to describe his special to somebody in a very succinct way, it would simply be very manic. Very manic, very ADHD, and very eccentric. He was definitely very, very eccentric on a lot, like, his mannerisms and stuff like that. Like, to the point where I'm going to be completely honest, I kind of feel a little tired after watching all that. Because I'm starting to feel a little drained, and I wasn't even the one moving around like he was. But yeah, the thing I will say I really, really did like, and I like about older comedy specials and stuff like that you don't really see in more recent ones, is comics interacting with the audience. You don't really see that very much anymore. And I know I've mentioned that before on the show, but it's so true. Like, you don't see that interaction anymore. You don't see, like, if you go to comedy clubs and stuff like that, you'll see some comics will be interacting with people, hey, what's your name, who, that kind of thing. Especially a comedian like me who does, like, magic and stuff in their act. So there has to be a certain amount of, like, pulling somebody up on stage and interacting with them and stuff like that. So, you don't see it very often. And it's something that I feel, at least for me, from somebody who's watched probably hundreds of stand-up comedy specials, you just don't see it anymore now. And I feel like it loses some of the interactivity, even though it's like, we are part of the audience at home watching what is going on. But it's not, there's something about interacting with the audience that just adds a little extra spice to a comedy set. You get a feeling like the comedian actually cares about the people in the audience. They're not just there. Because, like, I can tell you guys, to be completely honest, I have done shows for as little as one person. That's not an exaggeration. I have literally done shows for I have done a show for one person. I went to a comedy night. There was me and two other stand-up comics. The other two comics literally laughed because they were like, well, there's no audience. And I'm like, there's one guy. Let's do the show for one guy. And they're like, nah. And they just took off. So I just ended up doing a full hour in front of one guy. So, And then, but I've also done shows in rooms of like a couple hundred people. And just that little bit of even if you're only interacting with one or two people in the crowd, it brings you just a little bit closer to the audience, at least from the perspective of a comedian. And when I watch stand-up comedy and that happens, yes, I feel, I feel that very much. I feel that very, very much. Anyway, there's really not a whole heck of a lot I can really talk about. Like I say, he's very different now than when, I mean, people have to change and stuff like that. But he's different than what he was when he was, a younger person. And I would hope so, because I'm sure he would just, if he was keeping that same level of energy, like Howie Mandel is freaking almost 70 years old. He's 69 years old. Nice. Can't believe I missed that earlier. 69 years old. Could you imagine if he still had that level of energy? There would be no doubt. Everybody would be like, oh, he's definitely on the cocaine. He is 100%. He also, the funny thing is he also seemed kind of dickish. Like when he had that woman who was the hair cutter, not a hairdresser. She cut hair. Subtle difference. He did seem like he was just a little bit of an asshole to her. Is it just me, or is it like seemed very aggressive? Not in like necessarily a sexual way or anything, but just like just do it kind of thing. Now it could have been all staged and everything like that, because that is something, especially for a special, some people will do. But it did come across as being a little bit dickish. But that all being said, there's really not much else to say, except for thank you all so much for joining me today. I do hope you enjoyed it. Always remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do. You should probably stay away from most of the things I would do. And before we say our goodbyes, I would like to say, if there's anybody out there who has a favorite stand-up comedian that is not on Comedy Central's Top 100 Stand-Up Comedians list, please let me know. I'm not sure if Dick Gregory has a comedy special. I think Bobby Stallion does, but I'm not 100% sure, and I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact Sinbad does. Which, by the way, I'm really excited to Dick Gregory. Be honest, I don't know much about him. Bobby Stallion, I do know quite a bit about him, so I do hope we have a special of his. Dom Ira, the face looks familiar, but I'm not. And I know I've seen The Big Lebowski, so. But Sinbad, very excited to check out Sinbad. Of course, you can see where he was in Jingle All the Way opposite Schwarzenegger, but his particular style of comedy is I don't want to say different, because that's such a vague term, but it is very him. If you ever see him in interviews, if you ever see him in movies, that kind of stuff, his style of comedy is very him. And you could say that about a lot of people, but I'll leave it at that for the time being. But like I said, thank you all so much for watching. Always remember to take care and keep laughing.